I don't claim to be a mad scientist behind the scenes in my unfinished basement, you know?
Okay, you guys probably know this car, this guy.
Hello.
Mr. David Patterson, that dude in blue.
That's me.
You have a car care line.
I do have a car care line.
What business do you have having a car care line?
What business do I have having a car care line?
No, I'm excited that you've chased this, you've done this, and I'm sure there's some people that are immediately like watching my videos saying why, you know, because I'm using like the ultra high end, the ultra, you know, we just did a 30-hour correction on a Cobra here in Atlanta, and I'm excited that guys like you are taking people from AutoZone to a few steps up, you know, a few steps up in product. And you and I were talking about this. I'm guessing that's the intent.
Yes.
Part of the intent. So, tell me the story. How does this happen? How did you end up here?
So what's interesting is I was at an event and I went to, I'm not going to say, but I went to a few different brands and a lot of them were just like, yeah, we just don't really care. We just get, you know, think about selling the products to Joe Blow at Walmart. That's what we care about. And I was like, and I loved using more higher grade products and stuff, but I also at the same time wanted it to be a little more affordable for people trying to get into detailing. And so
because you're not interested in doing what I do.
Right. That's right.
It's not the goal.
No, that's not the goal. And I think if people know that, I think it's okay. Yeah. And the goal is I think what you said, we were just talking earlier and you're like, you know, what's your goal? And I was like, well, like you said, I think a lot of people don't know where to really start. And this is really good entry level, especially. And you have a ton of product too. And that was a big philosophy with it to be, you know, 32 ounces and everything else and share it with your friends and watch with your friends.
I'm a big proponent of that, of, you know, using 32 ounce instead of 16 ounce bottles. It lasts longer. I don't have to revisit a gallon as early. I don't have to buy, you know, as many bottles and things like that. So I appreciate you doing it. I think that's smart. And then also giving people the option to have a complete line, right? Was that part of the goal?
Yeah, so we started developing everything back in October of last year and coming up with a plan and which products to start with and if people would even give it a shot and stuff like that. And so we just started with the first kit, just like a super basic kit of quick detailer soap, all the normal stuff you would find at an AutoZone and stuff. But by suggesting that, hey, you know, it is better than the stuff up there, but you won't completely break your bank and you'll have plenty to use, so you'll be fine. So you don't have to keep buying it.
Are you comfortable sharing? Who's we? Who do you develop
this so I developed this was formerly Honest Wash.
Okay.
And Honest Wash had really good blends of stuff. And so when we started working with Honest Wash, we were saying, listen, we want to have the best product, but also at the same time not be completely slaying people. And also our goal wasn't to make an absolute killing, if that makes sense. It was more so just to give people more premium product than they...
So you're not chasing margin, right?
You're not chasing margin.
You're not chasing margin by diluting the product.
No, nothing's crazy diluted.
Because I mean, if you think about this, if you sell 16 ounces, let's say 16 ounces of this bug and tire remover you're selling it for $13, but you're selling the 32 ounce for $20.
Right.
Obviously, you'd rather sell, as a business person, you'd rather sell more 16 ounce bottles because the product costs the same.
Right,
so
it's a consumable. So you just keep using it. And
so one way to improve margins would be to dilute the product, sell 16 ounce bottles, and mark it up.
Right.
So you've chosen the opposite route, which is to have more product, more concentrated.
Right.
And
at the same price as the 16 ounces and stuff like that.
Got it. So this is really common in the industry, or what's been common even outside of the detailing industry or the detailing genre, is for whatever reason people have gotten really bent out of shape about who's making it.
Right.
You know, where's the product made? Oh, you're just rebottling it. And I would argue, I mean, brand is more powerful a lot of times than product. And for whatever reason, people have kind of gotten a bug up their butt about paying for brand.
Right.
Now, I'm wearing Nike shoes, and I have an Omega watch, and I have an Apple MacBook Pro.
All huge brands that have an image to them that associates the product with that. And
so I don't have a problem with that, but let's just speak to that a little bit.
Yeah.
So somebody you're not a chemist.
No, I'm not a chemist.
Honest, are they chemists? Or do they have a blender that they have a relationship with?
Yeah, so we have really good relationships with blenders. And essentially, my business partner, Fonzie, he's incredible at everything he does.
Fonzie's the dip
your car guy, yeah. Okay. So, incredible guy. We're business partners, and
so he's behind Honest Wash.
Yes.
Okay, so he created Honest Wash as a car care line to support the Dip Your Car brand.
Right. And
you became now through Patterson's Car Care, so this is a branded version of Honest Wash.
In a way, yeah, a few things are different, but he basically came in going, listen, David, I know you love cars, your audience loves cars, and I also told you earlier that my channel's never had a Patreon, it's never had crowdfunding really. And I just didn't want to do that. And I was like, well, if people are going to support me in that way, I should give them something to use. And
you want to figure out a way to have an exchange in value.
Right, and provide for them if they wanted to try something. And if they didn't want to try it, that's cool. If they wanted to, awesome. And that's great.
Because the risk for you and your business is if it's heavily dependent on revenues generated from YouTube and Google that you have no control over, that's problematic.
Yeah. It's scary because YouTube is an unpredictable monster that you feed over time. If you don't upload for a week, YouTube's like, oh, look, you don't exist anymore.
Well, it's very similar to, I liken it, being a YouTube star or a YouTube participant, very similar to, let's say you were a retailer and you built your store on the back of Amazon. Amazon could come in and create a similar product and squeeze you out. Yeah. You're dependent or you're reliant on that platform. Okay. So I think it's really smart people want to support you. And I think that's the part that people are missing. I'm here, I was interested in the product line. I'm not going to, this isn't for me.
Right, and I totally get that though.
I'm using Sonax and G-Technic and stuff that's 4, 5, 6 times the cost of this stuff. But I'm really interested, really intrigued that you doing this and offering this and improving, a rising tide lifts all ships.
Right.
And so creating a line like this, working with like Fonzie, who has a background in business and marketing and building a brand. And you guys I don't think you're certainly not asking too much for that product.
No, and we went into it thinking what's going to help a group of friends wash their cars while also not being at the highest possible tier, that's
great.
That kind of stuff.
So, would you say that you started these products you applied to yourself? How am I going to wash my car, and then by proxy providing that same information to the people that are like you?
Correct. Yeah, and it's just that's our slogan. It's a funny slogan. It's just for car dudes by car dudes who are just about washing their car, get it done, enjoy it. But by doing the proper steps that you teach, you can still apply all of your methods with this product. And it's not like you're going and grabbing a single wipe and wiping your whole car down while a brand doesn't even care about if people screw their cars up or not. So we just wanted to go to the level that was necessary to be acceptable by pretty much everyone. And at the same time, give a really good quality product overall.
So we're going to go out and use these on an S2000 here in a little bit, but we have car shampoo and a foam. Right, so I was on your site. I was kind of digging through the different options, and I was planning on telling you how to use it. So, and I like it that you're cool with me allowing me to do that.
Let's be real here. Somebody's been doing it for a dozen years, and you should always just learn from everybody. And in my opinion, even though I sell a detail line, I still take credit from learning from people from over time.
You're the face. You're the face of the product, right? Again, you're providing people with an option to exchange value.
It's an option.
They enjoy what you're doing, and then they're helping you by proxy, helping you keep doing it.
Right.
And I know some people that's not acceptable.
I totally get it.
But the people that want to support you don't give a crap about any of that.
Right.
Those hang-ups, right? And
I'm just glad that I'm glad that we created something on the lines of, I am proud of this stuff. I really am. And I'm proud that it works pretty great. And at the same time, we didn't just take this bottle, pour Dollar Tree soap in it, and say, buy it because it's David's. And that's where I was really happy with the end result, was that I could go to an event, sell the product, and be proud I'm selling the product, rather than just trying to convince somebody that it works or not. And that's what I was scared of, is doing a detail line where it just didn't work, but I was just saying, but it's me, but it's me, believe me. And that's what I was really terrified of. But I'm glad that I got past that for sure.
Yeah, and I think, let's say this was rebottled Adams or rebottled Chemical Guys or something like that. I know that people would, let's just pretend that it was. It's not, but let's pretend that this was blended by Adams and then you put your name on it. Well, Adams is good.
Yeah.
And you're good.
Yeah.
And so I don't see a problem with that.
Right.
But for whatever reason, there seems to be an issue with that. But I think, again, you're not a chemist, but you know a chemist. You're able to go to the chemist and say, hey, bro, I'd like this to be a little slicker. I'd like the wheel cleaner to be a little stronger.
That's what we do.
I'd like the soap to be a little thicker. And because you're learning, you're using the product, and then they can come to you and say, well, that's not really practical. You can or can't do that. Or you say, well, I'd like it to smell like this or that. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
Now, if you came to me and said, look, this is some special auto foam, and this is $120 a bottle. And I made this and blended this in the back room over here. I think then that's where there's an issue.
You're scheming people, essentially, and you're claiming to be somebody you're not.
Yeah.
And people don't like dishonesty.
Yeah.
And the honest truth is that I'm not a chemist at the end of the day. Not a chemist, but that's okay, because I am proudly representing something that I am proud of, like we said earlier. And at the same time, I don't claim to be a mad scientist behind the scenes in my unfinished basement.
So we have traditional soap. Let's just kind of run through this.
Yeah.
Traditional pH balanced soap.
Yeah.
We have some foam, or what I call snow foam, or what Europeans call snow foam, which would be a slightly alkaline soap for lifting dirt. So these are for two different purposes. And we have some, you have all-in-one, this is a quick detail. Right?
Yeah.
So detail spray and spray wax. So these can be kind of interchangeable depending on what you're attempting to do. This will add a layer of protection. This designed for a quick wipe down, which we'll talk about when we're cleaning the S2000. Some tire shine, and then you also have, I noticed you have some not the leather cleaner, but the vinyl.
Plastic and vinyl. Yeah.
I would guess
that's one of my favorites.
You can probably use this on your tires too if you wanted to.
You could,
depending on how you wanted.
We've used that on really destroyed interiors, and it got everything out, and it was really.
You could use this. You could also use this on like engine bay area, like the plastics around.
Yep. No, it's funny. We use the degreaser for all the metals, and then we go in with that on the other stuff, on the plastics and all that good stuff.
And then we have wheel cleaner, which is your favorite.
Yeah. I think the wheel cleaner is a good representation of us, of the overall brand, because it's a good entry-level product, because people just want to try something. That's probably the one to try, because they can see it physically happening, with the good old purple and the breaking down the iron and all that. But that's one of our favorites for sure.
Bug and tire, or bug and tar remover.
Yeah.
Right, and then we have your this you could use on rubbers and tires and plastics as an all-purpose cleaner.
Yeah, we've used it a lot on like destroyed exhaust tips and stuff like that. Brought them back to life.
We just talked about vinyl dressing,
leather cleaner.
Cleaner.
Has UV protection in it and a few other things.
Have you used this on other things in the interior, like plastics and things?
No, I would actually use this on the plastic.
Okay.
But this stuff on the leather, Oh man, you smelled it earlier. It smells awesome. But UV protection, all that good stuff.
Oh, this would be your interior cleaner.
Yeah. That would be for the carpet and all that good stuff.
And then glass cleaner.
Yep.
And then last would be your high-end
good
wax.
old, traditional wax.
So what's next? What are the next products coming? Are you telling me you're doing gallons at some point?
Yeah, we're gonna do gallons eventually. Right now we're working with a detail shop here in Atlanta called Vivid Auto Solutions, and they do a lot of paint correction, vinyl wraps, stuff like that. They did an incredible job. They have really supported us because they wanted to support local and all that. So they are the first retail shop in town, and they'll have gallons there.
Okay.
But once we see how much consumption and all that good stuff, then we're going to start providing gallons,
So are you going to start doing, are they doing some product testing and going to give you feedback and stuff like that?
Yeah, and I think my favorite line was, it was a text from Sean, one of the owners of the shop. He texted me, he goes, David, one of my smug ass detailers who hates everything was saying good things about your stuff.
That's good.
And I was like, all right. And so I said, does that mean you guys are cool with using our stuff? And he said, we love the stuff. We're going to stick with it. So that was very, very flattering in my opinion, because we're brand new and it's really cool.
I would hope that what you would do is if they don't, let's say they don't like the glass cleaner or something, you can go back to
tweak it.
Yeah, you can go back to the chemist and say, hey, bro, let's make this a little different.
And that's one good thing is that we have that availability. We can go do that. And say the glass cleaner wasn't doing just that one thing right, like you said, we can go right back and say change this one thing and see how it does and test it. There's lots and lots of testing, and I know in our next phase we're doing, I think I was telling you, we're doing a mud cutter for off-roading and stuff like that, kind of like the lines of this.
Yeah, a little bit more aggressive.
A little bit more aggressive, getting the underbelly of cars, and because trucks and off-roading's big here in Georgia.
See, I think a lot of people would expect me to hate on you doing this, and creating a line.
Right,
it's a complete opposite. I just think, again, I think that I know that the stuff that I'm using and what I'm doing is not it's for a very small percentage of people. And I think that the mentality that people might have and questioning your integrity and saying, well, what do you have to do with car care? And I'm hearing in your discussion you get your place, you get what you're doing.
Right. I'm not oblivious to the writing on the wall, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not going to be a Larry, and maybe that'd be awesome one day. But the thing is that I tried to create a product where it's consistent. It's consistent. All the products work very good, and at the same time, it's available all the time.
Right, it's consistent with your message. The availability to drive. This is what my take of you is that you're driving like people, like regular people's cars,
right?
And you're not just out driving exotics. And those people, the person who has an RSX that he's modified and loves, or an older Civic or a Mustang or a Camaro or something that he loves, they're not going to spend $7,000 on polishers right. Instead, they're going to want to do it themselves. They're going to use a product that works and something that's a little bit more, a little easier to understand than going and looking at the massive shelf at Walmart with all the crazy stuff.
And it is confusing when you go to Walmart. I mean, imagine it's funny, back in the day when my dad was teaching me just, a basic way to wash a car. Just like, son, you're going to do this, this, and this. I go, okay. He goes, okay, you're going to go to AutoZone or whatever store all by yourself and just go grab some stuff. And I remember I walked in there and I'm like, what's the difference between this and this? What's the difference? I was so confused because it's just a wall.
And it's funny because no offense to your dad, but he didn't know jack about washing cars
that's
anyway.
Right.
And everybody's dad, is their expert.
That's
and
right.
So their dad
that's who you look up to, and that's your advice.
And dad doesn't know jack, and he's telling you to go get what he used in 1987.
Right. Yeah, and make sure to never use a microfiber because there's plastics in it. We heard that at Grid Life recently. A guy came up and he was like, he just picked up my product, put it down, picked it up, put it down. It was like, you guys sell microfibers? Well, only so and so and so and so works. Those are ridiculous. And we're like, okay. And then I had flashbacks to like other people's dads and stuff saying, you know, go to AutoZone and pick up Armor All, whatever, or McGuire's, whatever.
So don't listen to your frickin' dad. Start with this kind of stuff, and then when you're ready to spend $2,000 on your pressure washer, give me a call and I'll hook it up.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing this. Let's go out and let's play with some of this stuff.
I'm down. Yeah, let's do it.
What happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor, foot to the floor.